Hello, welcome to that new video. We're gonna put what Assetto Corsa needs to know where is the start line, player position, etc. And then export the track to the Assetto Corsa editor and play the track on that video finally. So we're gonna open once again that page I told you in the previous videos. You can see here it's specified what are the naming convention for the object. So start is the start position on the grid. So if we decided the track will be a 12 car racing, so we're gonna need 12 AC start, 12 AC pit. Hot lap it's just one, I think, because it's for hot lap mode. And then time 0 left and right, it's for the start line. And then you can add additional time zone to have your I don't know how to say it, to have your track made into different time section, intermediate times, I think it's called. So you're gonna add them like 1, 2. We're gonna put 2 just to have it working. So we're gonna create like a box. We're gonna make it like 2 meters. What's important, it's not the size of the box, it's the axis, the actual axis. This is the gizmo axis that you see. This is the important thing. So we're gonna center it to the object, and what's important is to have the not for the start line, but we're gonna do it anyway. It's to have the Z pointing forward. It's gonna be important, for example, for the starting position of the car here. So if I go to show me the local axis, you can see that it's pointing forward. So we're going to call it AC time 0 left. So we are on the left of the track. The height is not really important. What's important is that it's on both sides of the track. So I'm going to right. We are going to put them on their own layer. So we'll create a layer. We're going to call it track dummies. Here. So we said that we would put 2 over to have intermediate time. So we're gonna put 1 here. So this one's gonna be one right, and this one's gonna be one left. And this one is gonna be two left, and this one is gonna be two right. So now we have set up the start line in the intermediate timeline. We are going to create the starting position. So we're going to start on the road. My road is quite narrow, I reckon, but it's okay. It will do it for the test. So this time, what we will name it is AC start 0. Then we will have AC. I'm not doing it like very, like, of course when you do like a real track to share with the community, you respect this distance between cars on the grid, but I'm just doing it fast. So this one's gonna be 2, this one's gonna be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and to 11. So 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now we need to do the same with the AC pit. Here, a little bit. So, once again, if you follow the rule, it's gonna be AC pit 0. I should space them a little bit more, but it's okay. It's okay. So 1, 0, 1. You can go forward in the video if you want. It'll take me a few seconds to get working. last one, which is the hot lap start. I'm gonna put at the beginning of the straight. So once again, you refer to the name. Once again, thanks to him, thanks to Kunos too. So we have the time zone. Maybe we are going to have I'm going to create a small plane here. White. So and to make it simple, 20 centimeters wide, 10 meters should cover the road, even less. To figure the start. So obviously we need to put the material on it. So I'm going to create paint 01, create a texture, really like a white texture, just and then save it as a TDS. Okay, this is really a fast way to do it. We will not do it like that when we will do proper texture for a proper track. But since Assetto Corsa editor need a texture for each material, let's go with it. Apply it to the object. Since it's a whole white object, like the UV map doesn't really important. It's not really important, but I'm just gonna do one anyway. Here we are. So for all the we create I would say it layers for all the objects, and so for all the objects add special name. But those special names are only for special objects, like physics objects that need to support the car, like the grass, the road, etc. But actually, most of the object of your track will be only visual features that doesn't need to interact with the track. So it doesn't matter how that object is named. I can just call it start line, but I could call it unicorn start line or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna create a new layer. So since it was selected, it automatically put it in the new layer, and I'm gonna rename it paint. Like if you, for example, in Counter-Strike, I think like the white line, it's some polygon over the road. So you can have like a layers where you put all your paint objects, for example. So now it's done, we saved. We will even do a save as, and by clicking on the little plus, if I go to the right place, I'm gonna increment, so it's not gonna destroy the previous file, it's just gonna call it like track2. See the new name, test track2. If I do save as, I have to. So it's nice to keep older version. It's a nice way to keep older version of your work file. Never have only one version of your work file, because if you fucked up your file, you will be happy to have like older version. If you delete things in your file and you saved it, and it was a mistake to delete it, and it's something that was still in the previous file, you can still re-import in the new file. So always do incrementation or saving. So now it's time to export. To export, we need to select all the objects. So that's another way, like the layer thing is handy, is that I can just select all the layer except the first one where I have the spline I use to make the road texture. You remember? So the game doesn't need to have that. So each time I'm gonna have, usually when I have when I'm making a track, I have a layer. It's called 0, 0 help or helpers. Like, why it's 0? So it always appear on top. I'm gonna put the road shape inside it. So it should descending edge, solid ascending. So when I select, I don't have like select only layers. I can go down until I encounter a 0. If it's a layer with a 0, I know it's not, it's just like helping things I have in the file, but not actually an object that needs to export to the racetrack. So then you press here to select all the children, because right now I only selected the layers. I need to select all the children, all the objects. See, all the objects I need are selected. And I'm gonna export it. Export selected. So into my test track here. So we're gonna save it as a FBX. Not a 3ds, FBX, not a max file, FBX. So that's why we did export selected, and not export selected, because we want to export only the selected objects. So test track. Here we're gonna call it test track. It doesn't matter because we will always work on the same FBX. So each time we're gonna make modification on the track, we're gonna save and like over that FBX file. You will understand next why, because when we use it, when we import it into the Assetto Corsa editors, Assetto Corsa editor is gonna remember all the change we're gonna make inside it, and all those changes are linked to that FBX in particular. So if you change the name of the FBX when you make modification in 3ds Max, Assetto Corsa editor will not load all the change you made inside the Assetto Corsa editor. So that's why it needs to stay the same name, always. So you have the FBX export. I'm not gonna go over all of this, but once again, since that tutorial is really well made, they are telling you how to, sorry, I'm gonna try to keep it on one side and having 3ds Max on the other side. export, test track, FBX, test track. Here. So of course we want to keep the smoothing group. Don't convert the deforming dummies to bones. Triangulate. Sometimes it's nice to have the preserve edge orientation, but right now we're gonna keep the same thing. So we keep meters here. We don't need animation, we don't need cameras, we don't need lights, we don't need like embedded media. So this is very important. Y-axis up, binary, and like version of the FBX. You can like keep the one you have. You can do 2012, but I think it was like with more recent one. So you press OK. So now it saves, and now it's time to open the Assetto Corsa editor. So once you're in Steam, you go to Tool, and you have the Assetto Corsa SDK, and you install it. We're gonna fire it, open FBX, and go to our FBX, and open it. Oh yeah. So what I did is, it's that I forget to put a material on the dummies actually. So I'm gonna create one. And I'm gonna create like a pink texture. So usually like the most visible color. Here we are. So now I'm gonna select all my dummies here and apply the color on them. Yes, because when we import in the Assetto Corsa editor, everything needs to have a material on that area and at least a texture on it. So now I'm selecting my layers, select all the children, export, test drive. As I said, I override it. Here we are. So now I'm gonna open the Assetto Corsa SDK, open FBX, and here we are. So to move around the track, you use your keyboard arrows, and you click, and to move the view around, you click and you move the mouse. To go faster, use the arrows plus control, and to move slower, use the arrow plus shift. So what we have here is that we're gonna need to set up the textures on the material. So for the grass, it's weird. Oh, this is stupid. If I had called the file texture without a S, it would have worked. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna restart the editor. I'm gonna change and in texture. Yeah. Is it because of Photoshop? Delete that one. Name it texture. Sorry for the inconvenient moment. So I'm gonna load the track, and you can see that now we have all our materials on the objects with the textures. But it's not really satisfying since we have all those pink cubes, and we have also like the materials are not set really correctly. It's gonna be hard to drive on that thing. So let's first have the rendering deactivate on all the dummies. Like the objects are still gonna be activate, but not their render. So to select something, you do a right click on it, and you can see that we have here properties of the object. Cast shadow is active, is renderable, is transparent. So what we want to do is having not renderable and doesn't cast shadow. See, there's still the object. Sorry, so to move it's the arrow. To move fast is arrow plus control, and to move slow it's arrow plus shift. So it's gonna be a pain in the ass to do that on all the objects. So fortunately we have a batch option here, and so I'm gonna select the scene root. I'm gonna ask him all the objects that start with AC, you know, the AC times, AC start, etc. Filter. So I had all of them, and so now I can make like I want shadow off on all those objects, and I want render off on all those objects. Here, it's done in a second. It's magic. I'm going back to object. If I select now the grass, I go to material. So I'm gonna be really fast. I will make a video that explains the whole material thing. But now, just need to know you have several shaders that you can use. Basic one is the Kunos per pixel lighting shader. So you have an ambient, diffuse, value for ambient, diffuse, specular, emissive, etc. Here is the texture. You can reload it by pressing, or you can change and select another texture. We're gonna diminish a little bit the ambient and the diffuse. So the main difference between ambient and diffuse, ambient is a lighting on the object that kind of simulates light bouncing around. If I put it to 0, the only light that affects that material gonna be the sunlight. Like if there is no sun anymore, if I move, it's gonna appear black. But the truth is, you can always kind of see it. So you have always a little bit of ambient on an object to simulate the. Even when we are at sunset, we should still be able to see the material. We're gonna put like an ambient around 4. So I'm gonna make a whole video about it because the level, the colors, and the general level of the texture matters too. So my texture is a bit too bright, but for the matter of the test, it will work. Why I can't see my road anymore? I think I deactivated it. Oh, because there is an AC on the tarmac name. So I deactivated it which is kind of stupid. We can let the shadow enforce because there is absolutely no way the road can have a shadow. Oh, that's not actually true, because if with the slope we have here, like the shadow can still, the road can still project shadow. So we're gonna let it on. We're gonna, so the specular is always really high by default, so like a 0.05 and like for grass I think a 4 is good enough. I'm gonna get back the light, so this is to test. Not hesitate to test your track with all kind of lights, all kind of weather, to see that your materials, your texture, your settings works for all the weather condition. So the road, like tarmac absorbs lights, but it can have a specular activity. Gonna be 0.2. We need to be careful to not overdo it. Like, this is pretty much enough. We're gonna go on the curves too, like 0.1, maybe 15. It's enough. Same for the walls. So the walls right now, since their name is one wall, they really act as walls, so there will be physical contact with the wall. And by the way, you see that we can see all the polygons. It's because I didn't put all the polygons of the wall in one smoothing group. So this is what objects look like when you have like separate group, smoothing group for all the polys. It can be like interesting, like when you're modeling an object, but here we would like to have like walls in the same smoothing group. It doesn't matter for the moment, but always like look at your smoothing group. So the wall, the material, we're gonna go like 5 and 0.03, not too much, and lower specularity, so the specularity is much diffuse on the wall. And with that, we should be able now to raise the track, and it's what we're gonna do. Once again, the intent of this video is not to explain all the functionality of the KsEditor, just like to have a track up and running really fast. So now you just like to save we're gonna first save the persistence. Persistence is gonna create an ini file where all the change you make, it's gonna remember it. So once you load the FBX again, if you make some modification to it in 3ds Max, it's gonna remember all the modification you made on all the materials and all the objects and everything that you did in the KsEditor. So it's very important to save persistence. Usually you don't do a load persistence, because when you load FBX, it automatically loads the persistence that's linked to that FBX. So now we're gonna save the persistence and save the track. So the track, we're gonna generate the KN5 file. So the track is not gonna be saved in your working folders. You're gonna go where the game is installed. Steam app, come on, Assetto Corsa, content, track, we have our test track, it's this one. So it's important that I name the KN5 the same as the main folder of the track. So test track 0.0. I pressed enter. Too early. Save. Okay. So since I made a little mistake, it's nice to record all the mistakes on video, so if you make it you know how to correct them. Here we are, Steam app, Assetto Corsa, content, tracks, test track, and we're gonna delete this one. So now we can actually play our track, drive on our track. So we're gonna save the persistence once again, just in case, close it. We're gonna open, we will open, you can start the game if you don't have, if you didn't install the content manager. You just start the game. I'm gonna do it by the content manager. Here we are. So now if I drive on the test track, let's go. Track not found. Why? Yeah, the mistake I made is that when I saved the track, it was not the right name. So point, I forget to point. So as I said, we're making mistake together. It should be fine. So let's go try that track. Suspense until the end. Here we are. And we're driving down the track. You can see it rumbles on the when I drive on the curve. When I go on the grass, like small grass projection, I probably have like grass on the tire too. You can see like the car behave weirdly because the visual road is actually the physical road. As I said in a previous video, when we will make a track later, a real track, we're gonna separate. We're gonna use like, for the physical road, we're gonna use like a mesh with way more subdivision to smooth everything on the track. So it's just that it lacks of polygon number, but otherwise it works. So thanks for watching, and in the next video we're gonna create the AI line to race with opponents and the track map. Thanks for watching.